We've got an arsenal of excuses for when we're just not in the mood. I'm exhausted, I have a headache, or just not tonight. But two Twin Cities women are bringing some creativity into those excuses with their new tongue-in-cheek book, 365 Ways to Weasel Your Way Out of Sex. Please welcome Addie Michel and Marie Chablis. Thank you. Welcome. I think John is somewhere with his ears plugged because he says he doesn't like to know all of our secrets. Not all of them. We got to have a little bit of mystique still in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
I went through this. I started with just kind of paging through this book, and I couldn't put it down. It was, I laughed out loud. I agreed. I'm like, I've been there. But how did you guys really come up with this idea? Marie, like, what were you thinking to let everybody know what we are doing?
Yeah, you know, Kristen and I have been friends for a long time, and we're in a dinner club together, and after years and years of conversations with women about this topic, we decided to start jotting some of them down, and it ended up being so funny that Addie and I thought we have got to put this into a book.
And it really kind of came out of, you guys were trying to help each other out, right? You were talking to women there, and after
Absolutely.
a couple drinks and cooking, you all knew you were going home to your husbands.
Yep.
When we first started in our Girls Gourmet group, we were young, no children, and as the years went on, you know what it's like. You have children, you get done with the end of the night, you're ready to go home, and you know what's coming. And we started to banter about what would happen when we got home and how we might get an immediate night of slumber.
Because sometimes, and it's sad to say, sleep is all we really want.
Absolutely.
Because we are different creatures from men. So, and that's what you started with, just kind of a list of funny things. How do you go from that to a whole entire book?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, we came up with the first 200 just like that.
Really?
And again, it was going back to these funny conversations that we've had with our girlfriends over the years. And then we had to get kind of creative. And you'll see in the book, there's some pretty creative tactics.
And you really did some research and talked to a lot of women for this.
We did. We did some focus groups, and we really questioned our friends about what they do. And so we used all that information in the book.
Okay, Addie, I want to know, what does your husband think of this?
My husband sneaks the book and looks at it to try to figure out his strategy to overcome it.
That's smart.
Yeah. So we recommend that for men. Actually, my husband's...
John, I told you he was plugging his ears.
Both our husbands are very supportive of this because it's a lighthearted girl humor book. It's a book that women can relate to each other and have fun and share, so they're very supportive of it.
And now I want to know, Marie, what is the most inventive excuse in this book?
There's some pretty outrageous ones in there. I think one of the most funny ones is to get a voodoo doll of your husband and poke him.
Oh!
And see what happens, see if it works.
Did the person say it worked?
I haven't tried it. I don't know.
That one's a little disturbing.
That was our creative one. It's made up.
That's very creative.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most used excuse?
I think the section in the book that's probably the most used are stalling techniques. Things women do before bed to try to give their husband time to fall asleep, and then you can sneak in really quietly and shut off the light really quietly. So stalling techniques would be laying with your kids to get them to sleep and accidentally falling asleep, or doing a pedicure in bed and giving it plenty of time to dry.
The one I loved, because I'm a clean freak, cleaning out your junk drawer. If my husband, once he knows I'm cleaning, there's no way I'm going to bed.
Load the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher.
Get all that work done.
Speed dial your sister and talk for an hour and a half.
Oh, you can save a lot. Yes, it's good to kind of get back up there, isn't it?
There's tons of those.
Well, we have a couple audience questions for you today. And our first one, I know Des is sitting with a couple of women who have some questions for us. Des, number one?
Oh, yes. Number one is from Forest Lake. It's Jenny Herring. What's your question?
What if you're uncomfortable talking about sex with your husband and feel bad making excuses?
Ooh.
You know, I'll take that one. I think that what we found with writing this book and talking to friends about this topic is that you are not alone. It's extremely common. All of us feel this way sometime, whether it's once a week or once a year. There's some point in your relationship where you are just tired and you want to get to sleep. So, you know, I think it would be a fun way to introduce a little humor to kind of a tricky subject for some couples.
I know, and I think it's something, like you said, everybody kind of deals with. So conversation, again, we always hear about communication. Do you think that's just the key?
Absolutely. absolutely. And I mean, if you can both laugh about it, my husband and I joke sometimes about, oh, is that number 45 or whatever? It just brings humor to it.
Yeah, you guys, you have nothing to hide now. I mean, she knows all of your tactics, 100%. All right, Des, do you have another question for us, I understand?
Yes, she's from Clontarf, Minnesota, which I've never heard of. Connie Williams, what's your question?
Well, my question is, do husbands ever make excuses, and are they the same excuses that the wives have?
Ooh.
I would say in all the research that we did, I never have heard one woman say her husband's ever tried to make an excuse. In fact, quite on the contrary, I think men can pretty much rise to the occasion at any time. They can climb into bed, they can be sound asleep, and you climb in and they wake up. They could have a couple broken legs and they still probably could wake up.
As we said, they're different creatures.
Absolutely, they're made differently than we are.
Which leads me to my favorite part of the entire book. It's your last chapter, and it says times to suggest sex, because you say the best defense is a good offense.
And so times to suggest sex would be times when you're pretty certain your husband's going to say no. Like maybe the morning after he has his vasectomy. Or as he's heading out the door to go to a really important golf game with his buddies.
During the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl. And then you can always go back and say, well, honey, I did suggest it. And you turned it down.
You can throw it back in their face later.
Absolutely.
Well, that is great, and I know it's out on store shelves right now. What has been the response that you've heard from some of the guys out there?
Oh, go ahead.
It's been great. Actually, about 20% of people buying our book are men, and I think they're giving it to their wives or significant others as a joke, or just because they can relate too.
Or also, stop saying you got a headache.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
Most men ask us if their wife might have been a secret contributor. So they can identify.
And it's one of those where you look at it and you're like, I've done that one. I've done that one. So it's fun. Thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, if you want to get your hands on a copy of 365 Ways to Weasel Your Way Out of Sex, go to KSP.com and click on Twin Cities Live. We have all the details right there. All right, coming up next, ready to redecorate?